Hello, everyone, and welcome to Living Healthy and Aging Well. My name is Ken Haglund, and we are broadcasting from the AM 950 radio station that overlooks Bryant Lake Regional Park, located in Eden Prairie, Minnesota. It is another beautiful day here in the Twin Cities, and I am so grateful to be here with you today, and I hope all of you listening are doing well. We are on the air every Saturday from noon to 1 to talk about your health and your life. We cover a wide range of topics to help you and your loved ones improve and enjoy your quality of life. We have another great show for you today. Joining me in a few minutes will be Dr. Lindsay Wimmer, Executive Director of Star Legacy Foundation, and she's here to discuss the mission of reducing the loss of pregnancies and newborns. The Star Legacy offers community support to families who are dealing with the tragedy of losing a pregnancy or infant. Lindsay Wimmer and her empathetic team are dedicated to increasing awareness, supporting research, promoting education, and encouraging advocacy and family support to help expecting parents have a happy ending to their pregnancy, and to provide grieving parents with support and guidance. Families can attend support groups, awareness and fundraising events, and up-to-date educational events that are scheduled consistently. Grieving families can also honor their baby with a memorial star on the Foundation's website. You will enjoy listening to my conversation today with Dr. Lindsay Wimmer. I want to thank all of you that leave us messages on our radio show phone line. We appreciate hearing from you, and we welcome your comments, questions, and, of course, topics for future shows. Also, if you are interested in being a guest on our radio show, please call or text us at 612-999-3426. You can also contact us on our website at livinghealthyradio.com. There you can find information about upcoming guests as well as listen to our previous shows, and we look forward to hearing from you. We are adding new listeners to the show each week, not only here in the Twin Cities of Minnesota, but also throughout the country. You can find podcasts for all of our radio shows on the AM 950 radio website, and we can also be found on iTunes, Spotify, and many other podcast and streaming services. You can also watch our broadcast live on the radio station's Facebook page at AM 950 Radio. If you have a question for us today, there are two ways to reach us. First, by calling the AM 950 radio station, and our friendly show engineer, Tom, will get your call on the air. Our phone number is 952-946-6205. Once again, 952-946-6205, or you can directly text us your questions at 612-999-3426. Now, don't worry if you missed our contact numbers. I'll repeat them throughout the show. All right. I want to welcome my guest for today's show, Dr. Lindsay Wimmer, Executive Director at Star Legacy Foundation. Welcome to the show, Lindsay.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right. Well, this is quite the topic, and I am so excited to talk to you about this. As many people know, I'm involved in the hospice profession, and we deal with grief and loss. It's just a part of our profession, and it's such an important topic to talk about as we all face grief and loss in our life. But before we jump into the conversation about your foundation and the work you do, tell us a little bit about your background.
Sure. Well, professionally, I'm a pediatric nurse practitioner. And so I worked in the healthcare setting in lots of different areas for a very long time before I had my own experience with pregnancy loss. And in 2004, my husband and I experienced the stillbirth of our first child at 38 weeks. And that really just opened my eyes to a whole new realm of healthcare that I didn't really even know existed. If you had asked me prior to that experience about stillbirth, or certainly the rates and some of the statistics around this, I would have thought that you were crazy, because to me it felt like an antiquated term that existed, decades ago, before we had the medical advances that we do today. When I realized that it's still so prominent and prevalent, it just really kind of seemed odd to me that how did I go through all of this schooling and work in the healthcare setting for so long and not have that kind of an awareness. And then the more you start talking to people, the more it comes out of the woodwork that everybody you know has been touched by this. Mm-hmm. And so as you, I'm sure, recognize in your work, as you said, we all experience grief at some point. We can't escape it. Right. But yet, despite that, as a society, we're not very good about dealing with it and talking about it. And so it really just adds to that sense of isolation and silence that surrounds a lot of this, which makes grief, a lot deeper and harder to manage. So we really just started initially wanting to try to support some of the research that was happening, thinking that, certainly there had to be ways that we could prevent some of these losses, and recognize that there really, especially almost 21 years ago, there was very little research that was being done. And so we wanted to try to promote that as much as we could. And it really just has exploded from there as we've started to realize so many different gaps that have existed, both in our society and in our communities, but then also in the healthcare and research realms. And so we just kind of keep following where those gaps lead us.
Well, that's great. So this is 20 years ago.
Yeah.
When this inflection point in your life happened and moved you into this area. Have you found over the last 20 years, are there other programs, are there other things out in the healthcare community or just in the communities that is been there and just maybe hasn't been, I guess, promoted or made aware of? Or, it seems like you guys are pioneering some things here in terms of getting things out.
Right. No, I think there definitely are other organizations and groups. I will say probably almost every group that I've encountered has been started by people who were personally affected.
Yeah.
And so that really kind of shapes a lot of what is happening. And unfortunately, the nonprofit space in general, but then especially when people are doing it just out of their own passion and in the midst of all the rest of their life, they aren't always as sustainable as they might like them to be, or life happens, right?
Right. Right.
And for us, we were very fortunate, my husband and I, to have good support. We had a very supportive family and employers, and kind of there were some local organizations around us. But so we didn't necessarily see that as a huge gap initially, which was another reason why we kind of felt pulled towards the research, because with my background, that's what spoke to me. But then also that was where we saw the biggest need, and that's a much harder realm for people just independently to get engaged with. And so I think there's definitely not as much in that space. As we continue to grow, that's when I realized that I was actually probably one of the lucky ones to get the support that I did, particularly in the healthcare setting. And so one of the things that we've tried to do is raise awareness in the communities so that people maybe are a little bit better equipped to help their friends and family if they experience this, but also doing a lot of education with health professionals, because I know myself, I received zero training in grief and certainly specifically the nuances of perinatal loss. Mm-hmm. So I think, most of these horror stories that we hear from families, they're devastating, but they're not because the health professionals working with them are heartless people or trying to make a scenario worse. Right. They're kind of going by their gut or what feels right, and it doesn't always land well. And so we really wanted to try to improve some of the support that people receive through some of that education component.
Yeah, isn't that something how people just expect you to know things? But if you don't have the tools, the training, the techniques, if you don't have that, it makes it really difficult. And here you are with a bachelor's, a master's, a doctorate. You have a lot of education, and it's interesting that something that is actually more common than we probably think really just hasn't had that much attention given to it.
Absolutely.
And I hear about the number of birth problems that we're experiencing, and it's increasing versus decreasing. And so you're right. It's a topic that we need to discuss and make sure people have access to information and support as they go through these circumstances.
No, absolutely. And a lot of times the first thing a family will say to us, too, is, how come I didn't know that this could even happen? And their grief is set in such a different trajectory when you have to start from even wrapping your head around the fact that maybe babies don't always make it to the end of the pregnancy healthy, or that they're not just born, when they're supposed to be as healthy as they're supposed to be, all those things. And so just even trying to get past some of those social narratives that getting pregnant is easy and staying pregnant is easy and all those things that we just want to believe so badly that it kind of limits the conversation that we have, but it really does a disservice to people that are living it. Yeah.
I know that people think it make it easy to get pregnant, but I tell you, that's becoming more and more difficult too. It's just whether it's lifestyles or environmentals or just anything that contributes to that struggle sometimes. And you're right, it goes throughout pregnancy then. I mean, once you get pregnant, remain pregnant, and then to deliver successfully, there's more risk to it than I think people really understand. Yeah,
absolutely. I'm frequently reminded of an anatomy and physiology instructor I had years ago who said, it's more a miracle that things ever go right than that they go wrong, but we are just so used to them going right that we forget that perspective.
True, and our mind will play tricks with us as well. Yes. All right, well, great topic, Lindsay. Thank you. It's time for a short break, folks. We'll be right back to continue our conversation with Lindsay Wimmer, Executive Director of Star Legacy Foundation, to discuss the mission of reducing the loss of pregnancies and newborns. Star Legacy Foundation offers community support to families who are expecting a child or who are dealing with the tragedy of losing a pregnancy or infant. If you have a question for us, please give us a call, 952-946-6205, or text us at 612-999-3426. I'm Ken Hageland, and you are listening to Living Healthy and Aging Well.
End-of-life decisions are not easy to make. Hi, I'm Mary T. of Mary T. Hospice Care. It's important to make sure that this difficult time is meaningful and comforting to you and your loved ones. Our hospice team provides an individualized program of physical, emotional, spiritual, and practical care so your loved one is comfortable and not in pain. At Mary T. Hospice, we understand that choosing the right hospice care provider can be overwhelming, but we're here to assist you. Learn more today at marytinc.com.
Hi, I'm Corey Wisco, president of the Welshire. The Welshire excels as a memory care community in the Twin Cities, located in Bloomington, and we have a new location in Medina. But what makes Welshire so different is the people that we have working for us. Our team has been together for the past 25 years providing this type of care. We employ some of the most amazing nurses and LPNs that are in the building 24 hours a day. We also have an activity team that is over 40 people. And our scheduling begins at 9 o'clock in the morning for activities, and it goes to 7, 8 o'clock at night. And that's 7 days a week. You won't find that. That is why many of the families that come to Welshire are actually coming from another memory care facility. Not all memory care is created equally. And that's why I encourage you, if you've had issues and problems at other places, come see what makes us so special. Please visit thewelshiremn.com and book a tour.
Find a wide selection of outdoor hearth products at Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces. Whether you prefer wood or gas, Woodland Stoves has the fire to fit your home. Pizza aficionados know nothing matches masonry oven baking for capturing flavor and nutrition. Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces can easily install one in your home or business. Enthusiasts use these ovens year-round for bread making, wood roasting, even grilling.
The mission and passion of Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces is to make the fire work for you. The way humans relate to fire is primordial. We have used fire to warm our bodies, cook our meals, and kindle our spirits. Our team has the know-how to do this in a clean-burning and environmentally smart way. Visit our store and experience the diversity. We have over 35 working units on display at the corner of Riverside and East Franklin. See us online at woodlandstoves.com. Find the fire that fits and works for you.
Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces, out of the ordinary products and services since 1977.
This is Andy Otto, your host of Twin Cities Pride Amplified, inviting you to join us this Saturday at 3 p.m. as we bring back Annie Krause, volunteer manager at TC Pride. We'll be discussing all the different ways you can step up and support the community by volunteering. why volunteering's so important, and some perks you probably never even thought about. That's this Saturday at 3 p.m., right here on AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
All right. Welcome back, everyone. You are listening to Living Healthy and Aging Well, where we talk about helping you and your loved ones improve and enjoy your quality of life. My name is Ken Haglund, and joining me today is Dr. Lindsay Wimmer, Executive Director of Star Legacy Foundation. She is here to discuss the mission of reducing the loss of pregnancies and newborns. Star Legacy Foundation offers community support to families who are expecting a child and also who are dealing with the tragedy of losing a pregnancy or infant. Lindsay, how can our listeners contact you and your organization if they have questions or want more information?
Yeah, we have a website. It is starlegacyfoundation.org. We also you can email us, info@starlegacyfoundation.org. We have a support line. People are welcome to text, call, or email us, and we're happy to help however we can.
Fantastic. And we will give that information out throughout the show, folks. But, feel free to check out the website while we're on the air, starlegacyfoundation.org. A lot of information on there. It's a beautiful website, so feel free to check that out. All right. Well, first segment, we talked about you and how you became more involved in this area of healthcare, and then about starting the Star Legacy Foundation and kind of the mission there. Help us understand more about the services that your organization helps to provide to people, who have a need or are interested in learning more about this.
Right. So we really have two audiences that we try to reach on a regular basis. One is the health professionals who are working with these families and want to do better. Like I mentioned, we don't have the training in this. And so those who work in this space a lot often want to feel like they're providing the best care, and they just don't know how to do that. So we do a lot of education and outreach with health professionals, trying to give them the resources and the tools that they need and that they can pass along to their families that they're caring for. The other group then obviously is the families that are experiencing these losses. And we don't necessarily go into the healthcare setting and provide the care because we want to leave that to the health professionals that are doing their jobs. But we want to be that connection into the community, because so many families will tell us that even though it was horrible and devastating when they were in the healthcare setting, they were protected. They were a little bit more in a bubble. They had people kind of gatekeeping for them. Yeah. And as soon as they leave and they get home, and all of a sudden it is, now what? Yeah. And they don't know what to do next. They feel very vulnerable because now there's nothing between them and all of the friends and family who are very well-meaning, but suddenly asking, what happened? How can we help? What do we do? Or maybe don't know at all and continue to act like life is progressing like normal when their life has actually been shattered. Yeah. And it's just a very awkward and challenging place to be. And so we want to be that presence in the community where they can reach out to, even just to tell their story, to let somebody hear their baby's name and what has happened to them, but also maybe help them connect with other resources and things that are out there. It's almost impossible for families when they're in that acute grieving state to know what's out there, let alone have the energy and the bandwidth to go do that research and then reach out and ask for help. And there's just so many layers. Right. And so we want to try to bring that to them as much as possible.
Yeah. And also, we were talking off the air, how just the approach to helping people navigate through the grief is much different today than it was really just a generation ago.
Absolutely.
Maybe you could talk a little bit about that and speak to that, because a lot of our listeners, we have listeners from 18 to 100 years old, so this could help them kind of frame some of the changes that you've experienced and witnessed here in this area.
Yeah. So it wasn't that long ago, even, mid to late 80s, a lot of the general wisdom, if you will, in the healthcare setting was that we wanted to try to just minimize this experience for families as much as possible. So the healthcare providers often did not give them very many options. It was very common to sedate the mothers, to just try to do all the medical stuff while they were unconscious as much as possible. And the advice that the families were given was to try to forget about this and hurry up and have another baby as soon as you can. And so a lot of families kind of took that advice to heart and tried to do that. What we have learned, both from all of those families, but then also from some of the research that they've participated in those things, is that it doesn't necessarily make it go away. It just makes them have to deal with it in a more lonely place. And at Star Legacy, we actually hear from people all the time that their child would be 40 or 50 years old, and they are trying to find the best way to tell their now adult children that they actually had an older sibling that they've never shared with them. Or we've had 80-year-old people come to our support group, and they're asking the exact same questions that people are asking that lost their baby last week, even though they lost their baby 60 years ago. Wow. But it tells us that grief just waited for them. It didn't go away. They did everything they could to try to get around it and make it not be a visible presence in their life, but it just was waiting for them. And so now they're at a place where they are either able to, or they've found the right outlet to be able to do that. And now they're trying to get that support, even though it may seem to the rest of the world like they should have been, quote unquote, over it a long time ago. But as a parent, you never get over any of your children. Right. And so that's kind of a false objective for any of these families, and so we just want to be there to validate that for them. Yeah,
and that's one of the great things about your foundation, is that people can go there, and this is a normal conversation to have, and it's expected, and it's encouraged, and they don't have to necessarily lean on sometimes family or friends or neighbors who just don't know what to do. Well-meaning, but again, don't have any idea how to really have those conversations. And Absolutely. This is so great. Like you say earlier in the show, and we find this too in hospice, death and tragedy and grief, people don't understand how to handle that. We're never taught that in school, especially even in healthcare, but let alone just in general life. How do you approach that, and how do you deal with that? And people want to talk about it. They
Isn't do.
It something?
Yeah, and it's part of how we process all of these emotions and try to make sense of them. And especially the loss of a child at any age, really, is such an out-of-order type of loss. Yes. I'm not trying to belittle any other type of loss, but all of us know on some level that we're probably going to outlive our parents, or maybe even a spouse or something, a sibling. But it's just an unwritten rule that you're not supposed to outlive your children. And so it takes a lot to even just wrap your head around the fact that this event has happened that is so out of that natural order of things that we want to rely on. And part of how you start to come to terms with that is by thinking through it and talking about it and getting other perspectives. And there's so many different ways to do that. But you have to have those conversations and try to see how other people have managed it. A lot of times with our support groups, or we have a peer support program as well, people will tell us, it just was so refreshing to know that I'm not crazy because I had this thought, or I wanted to do this thing to remember my baby because somebody else has done it too. And And it's not that they're, some people say, is it just like a misery loves company? And it's not that at all, actually. Right. It is that there is some tremendous relief in recognizing that honoring and parenting a baby who is no longer here looks different. And so just like parents of living children look to other parents for guidance and suggestions and lessons learned, parents who are grieving babies do the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I've heard over and over again, it's just so unnatural for parents to bury their children, and how that is, you're right, just out of order, and it's just really hard for us to process that. Right. And again, the common theme throughout all my years on this station is you're not alone. No matter what it is you're dealing with, you're not alone. But for some reason, we all feel like we're alone in the journey in life on dealing with these challenges and tragedies and traumas, and we're not.
It's so true, and that's one of the biggest things or messages that we try to convey to people that we're working with is that we can't fix this. We can't make it magically go away.
Right.
And they don't expect us to. They know that nothing is going to bring their baby back.
That's right.
But just knowing that they don't have to do it alone can bring more comfort and peace and support than you could ever imagine.
That's right. It's time for a short break. We'll be right back to continue our conversation with Lindsay Wimmer, Executive Director of Star Legacy Foundation. If you have a question for us, please give us a call, 952-946-6205, or text us at 612-999-3426. I'm Ken Haglund, and you're listening to Living Healthy and Aging Well.
Peace of mind shouldn't cost a fortune. We keep things simple at Schroman Law because we believe planning for your estate and end-of-life care shouldn't be stressful or expensive. Every client relationship starts with a free consultation so clients have the information they need before making important decisions. From there, we work closely with clients to ensure they are choosing the most efficient and cost-effective plans for their specific needs. Schedule a free consultation today at schromanlaw.com. That's SCHROMEN law.com.
Do you remember that invincible feeling you used to have? The boundless energy, the clarity of mind, the effort with which you faced every challenge? What if you could feel that again? If you ever took a biology class and heard the term mitochondria, this is the powerhouse of each of your body's cells, and this is where energy is created to do all the things we do. The demands of modern life, such as stress, aging, and environmental toxins, decrease our mitochondrial function, and we experience things like decreased energy, brain fog, and we generally feel exhausted. At Hypercharge Wellness Centers, our treatments offer gateways to rediscover your lost essence, to feel alive, invigorated, and whole once more. Call or go online to schedule your free introductory session valued at $200 today. This is your opportunity to feel the difference for yourself. No matter where you are in the Twin Cities, there is a convenient location near you. Visit hyperchargeclinic.com now. That's hyperchargeclinic.com. Hypercharge is hope.
I'm Dr. Stefano Sinacropi, an orthopedic spine surgeon and wellness evangelist, hosting the brand new Recharging the Human Battery show on AM 950 radio. My co-host Mandy Dickey and I will delve into various health topics, ranging from medicine to nutrition to exercise, emerging technologies, and yes, some way out there stuff. We'll provide a balanced view of today's landscape, helping listeners navigate its complexities and hoping to change the way you think about your health. Recharging the Human Battery airs Saturdays at 11 a.m.
Why must the world be so cold? They've gone against what was told. Thinking rape is cool? Think about it. They think it's not wrong, violence against women, the rape, the abuse, the emotional, physical. They all hold the hate. Think about it. Is it right or wrong? What attracts you? I'm not saying no names, but you laugh. Talk about it like nothing is wrong. Think about it. They all hold the hate. Gotta stop the violence. Stop the hate. Think about it.
Sponsored by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
This is Robert Pilot of Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, weekdays at 5 p.m. On our show, you'll hear about Native issues like treaties, protecting Mother Earth, and holding our elected officials accountable. Weekly correspondents like Dr. Stately, State Senator Mary Kunesh, Robert Lilligren, and Bob Blake update us with the latest news from Turtle Island. Native issues are human issues, and human issues are Native issues. Listen weekdays at 5 p.m. or watch the show on Native Roots Radio social media accounts. Ho-wah!
From the AM 950 Weather Center, I'm Tom Winston. Today, a sunny day with a high 56 degrees. Tonight, clear skies, low 37. Sunday brings us a chance of afternoon showers and a high of 61. Let Natural Lawn handle the lawn care so you can enjoy your yard. Organic-based, environmentally friendly lawn care for over 30 years. Weed-free, healthy lawns. Lush enough to go barefoot. More at naturalawn.com.
AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
Welcome back, everyone. You are listening to Living Healthy and Aging Well, where we talk about helping you and your loved ones improve and enjoy your quality of life. My name is Ken Hageland, and joining me today is Lindsay Wimmer. She is the Executive Director of Star Legacy Foundation, and she's here discussing the mission of reducing the loss of pregnancies and newborns. Star Legacy Foundation offers community support to families who are expecting a child and those who are dealing with the tragedy of losing a pregnancy or infant. Before we return to our conversation with Lindsay, I want to mention this radio show is brought to you each week in part by Minnesota Hospice. Minnesota Hospice is an independent, locally owned medical practice serving our Twin Cities communities with comprehensive end-of-life health care. The team at Minnesota Hospice provides patients and family members with award-winning end-of-life health care services. You may not be aware that hospice brings compassionate medical, social, emotional, and spiritual services to your home with typically no cost to you or your family. Please do not wait to learn how hospice care can benefit you and your loved ones. If you have any questions regarding end-of-life care or support, please contact the compassionate team of experts at Minnesota Hospice. They are available to answer your questions 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. That's right. There is a registered nurse waiting to answer your questions 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. So don't hesitate to give Minnesota Hospice a call. Their phone number is 952-898-1022. Once again, 952-898-1022. Or visit them online at minnesotahospice.com. All right, let's return to our conversation with Lindsay Wimmer. If you have a question for us, please give us a call, 952-946-6205, or text us at 612-999-3426. Lindsay, how can our listeners contact you or your organization if they have questions or want more information?
Yeah, our website is starlegacyfoundation.org. Our email address, info@starlegacyfoundation.org. You can also call or text us at 952-715-7731.
All right. I know you guys are headquartered here in Eden Prairie. Is there a certain area that you guys cover or support?
Yeah, so we do, we're kind of based here in Minnesota, but we have chapters from coast to coast, more than 20 chapters now. Wow. And so just really a huge team of volunteers that help us bring some of these initiatives and messages into their local communities.
Yeah. And before it gets too far in the show, I want to mention you have events coming up pretty soon and also throughout the year. I want to make sure we talk about that.
Yeah, so we actually have our signature event. The biggest event that we do every other year is coming up in June. It's in Bloomington, so in the Minneapolis area, and it is the Summit for Perinatal Excellence. It's a 4-day conference that we bring researchers and experts in from around the world. We have them coming from Australia and the UK and New Zealand and so many places, India, and they're going to be sharing the latest information and research, both how to prevent some of these losses and how to provide good bereavement care. The first 3 days are designed for health professionals, and then the fourth day is a special one specifically for families and community members who are dealing with grief. And so they're going to be having specific sessions on how to help them navigate their grief, working with their medical professionals, pregnancy after loss, which can be an incredibly challenging scenario, and have some opportunities to share and remember their babies as well. So that's a really fantastic opportunity for anyone who's interested in any aspect of this kind of topic to really engage with people who are experts and incredibly passionate about the work. We also have a lot of local community events with May and June right around the corner. Mother's Day and Father's Day always, of course, brings up so many really challenging emotions around this. And several of our chapters are doing special Mother's Day and Father's Day events. Here in Minnesota, the Minnesota chapter is going to be having a special yoga event during the weekend of Bereaved Mother's Day. So, but similar events are happening all across the country. So please just check out our website to find out if there's a chapter or an event near you, or give us a call and we will help connect you with one that we're aware of.
All right. Tell us more about the services your organization provides.
Yeah. So for grieving families, we have a support line that's really anyone who is impacted by a loss is welcome to call that line, and it can be open-ended. It can be just a chance to share your story. It can be to ask for certain services or resources. We're just happy to be there and kind of help walk through whatever you might be needing. We also have a peer support program where we have a team of volunteers who are trained. They've kind of been through aspects of their grief that they wanting to make sure that they are in a good place with their own grief, but then they continue to reach out and honor their own baby's legacy by helping other families who are new in their grief journey. And so we can connect individuals who are grieving with someone who has had a similar experience and is willing to kind of be that buddy or be that friend as they go along their grief journey. We also have a series of support groups. They are all held virtually, so they're available to anyone across the country. They are free. We have them for early pregnancy losses, late pregnancy loss, infant losses. Then we also have some for grandparents, one for dads, one for any type of loss that is conducted in Spanish, one for families that have older children, so that they're parenting after a loss experience, and then also those that are pregnant again after a loss. Again, all of those are completely free of charge and available nationwide. We actually even have people from other countries joining us as well. Here in Minnesota and Wisconsin, we actually have centers for stillbirth and infant death that are done in conjunction with the Department of Health in each of those states. And it really just helps us to be a centralized source of support and resources for families who have experienced one of these types of losses. It doesn't matter how long ago their loss was. And so if anybody is wanting to connect with us, they can make a referral. Their health professionals or anyone that knows them is welcome to make a referral, and we will reach out to the family and see how we might be able to help support them.
You mentioned groups for fathers.
Yes.
Isn't it interesting how the different genders deal with loss? Absolutely.
And I think it's compounded in this scenario because so much of the attention is focused on the mothers.
Right.
And in a medical sense, you can appreciate and understand why that happens, especially when the loss happens during the pregnancy and there's all the medical components that have to be dealt with. But it's really easy to forget that they lost a baby too. And in fact, in a lot of the literature, they're referred to as the forgotten mourners. It is that prevalent.
Wow.
And so we really want to make sure that everyone understands that just like any other birth or death, these are family events. Yeah. And even very innocently, a lot of times people will put additional pressure on the dads to be the strong one or to put their grief second, or just not even recognize that they are grieving too. And so we want to make sure that we do what we can to support them too. Yeah, it's so interesting how even just different generations deal with things, different cultures deal with things. And I just am so amazed at the breadth of support that you guys offer to anybody that's associated with a tragedy or loss like this, or again, try to make sure they have a healthy pregnancy, healthy delivery. So you mentioned working with the Department of Health throughout the country. Are they pretty receptive to working with you guys or getting information? Because prevention is just always so much better. 100%. I mean, yeah. Yeah, no, they actually are. Different states and different departments clearly have different resources and funding, options and those kinds of things. So it looks different in a lot of places. But we have a lot of services that are completely free. And so there's a lot of public health agencies. They may or may not be connected with the state departments of health, but we work with a lot of public agencies because they're limited in their resources or their funding. And so when they can help at least pass along some of these free or low-cost services to families, it really helps them feel like they're not failing the families that they're working with. And they're a huge opportunity for us. We've been talking mostly about a lot of the grief aspect of it, but there's a lot that we're learning in the prevention space as well. And those public health agencies are a fantastic place to start with that. Even groups like WIC that we may not necessarily think of as being somebody wanting to work with pregnancy loss, but they have a huge opportunity to help make sure that the pregnancy is, getting the care that it needs and progressing in as healthy a way as possible, and providing some of those messages so that those families know what to be watching for throughout that pregnancy.
Yeah, especially with younger adults, they just don't have the information, and a lot of it has gone because our families are so dispersed now. You just don't have that legacy information being passed on from grandparents to parents to their children about what they need to do. And I think there's just so much misinformation that contradictory information out there too on what should I do? I mean, should I lifestyle wise or exercise or all the things that can promote a healthy pregnancy. Are you guys able to get that information out, because you guys are so research based, which is just amazing, to get information out to people and organizations so they can help get in front of this with new moms or young moms or any age mothers?
Yeah, absolutely. We're doing a lot of different things, just trying to get some of those very basic concepts in front of them, because it comes back again to how we like to think that pregnancy is easy and natural and it always goes the way that it's supposed to. And so we don't necessarily think of, is there something else I need to be doing? So we focus a lot on making sure that people know what their risk factors are, if they do have any risk factors. And some of those are modifiable, some of them are not. But how can we come up with a plan together with your healthcare team to mitigate that as much as possible? And then there's some things that we really do just kind of want to share that information or combat some of the myths that are out there that you mentioned. One of the big ones that we encounter all the time is around fetal movement. And a lot of times moms aren't even given them the instructions that they should be paying attention to how their baby is moving. But then they absolutely aren't told what to do if their baby is suddenly moving very differently than they were before. And if they do mention it, we could run into all kinds of old wives' tales about how babies run out of room towards the end of pregnancy, or the baby's just saving their energy to get ready for delivery. All of these things have now been proven completely false. But they still come up all the time, and they're just repeated so frequently that everybody just assumes that it's accurate. And so we just want to just constantly trying to be reiterating some of those messages to people.
Wow, fantastic. It's time for another short break, folks. We'll be right back to continue our conversation with Lindsay Wimmer, Executive Director of Star Legacy Foundation, and we're discussing the mission of reducing the loss of pregnancies and newborns. And the Star Legacy Foundation offers great community support to families who are expecting a child and who are dealing with the tragedy of losing a pregnancy or infant. If you have a question for us, please feel free to give us a call, 952-946-6205, or text us at 612-999-3426. I'm Ken Hageland, and you are listening to Living Healthy and Aging Well.
Unwanted sexting or photos, inappropriate jokes, even tickling or wrestling can feel like a violation. Catcalling, cornering, or groping, getting them drunk or high for sex, recording sexual acts without permission, hurting someone because of their sexual orientation, ripping a family member, a child, a date, a friend, a stranger, purchasing a human being for sex. You make the choice every single time. Sexual violence is many things. Make a choice. Do not do it.
Sponsored by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
Crooners is a classic supper club with a wide range of entertainment. Make your reservations for a parade of international, national, and local artists in the main stage showroom, the intimate Dunsmore Jazz Room, or outdoors at the seasonal Belvedere Under the Stars space. Or enjoy Maggie's Piano Lounge. Enjoy 4-star food and drinks with first-class supper club service. What are you waiting for? Go to croonersmn.com for more information and schedule. That's croonersmn.com.
When was the last time you had your roof inspected for extreme weather and hail damage? This is Chad, owner of AM 950, to talk about the exterior construction company I trust, Snap Construction. If you've noticed new roofing projects in your neighborhood, your home was likely hit by hail last summer and experienced damage. Snap Construction is helping homeowners like you, and they're the roofing specialists I trust. They are the most well-reviewed contractor in the Twin Cities and have a ton of positive customer reviews from homeowners just like you. Even better, Snap Construction's installations are backed by a lifetime warranty, so you know you're dealing with a qualified roofing expert. You want to work with a company that will be here for a long time after the work is done. Snap Construction has handled thousands of claims and will help you through the process. Do yourself a favor and get a free roofing inspection so you have the facts and peace of mind you deserve. Call Snap Construction today at 612-333-SNAP. That's 612-333-SNAP. or visit snapconstruction.com.
Turn to Auto Technical with your vehicle donation. Even though Auto Technical is a small nonprofit, we have helped more families with transportation than any organization in Minnesota. Since '94, we have reconditioned donated vehicles so they have a higher tax benefit. Call Richard at 612-919-5526, 612-919-5526, or autotech.org.
End-of-life decisions are not easy to make. Hi, I'm Mary T. of Mary T. Hospice Care. It's important to make sure that this difficult time is meaningful and comforting to you and your loved ones. Our hospice team provides an individualized program of physical, emotional, spiritual, and practical care so your loved one is comfortable and not in pain. At Mary T. Hospice, we understand that choosing the right hospice care provider can be overwhelming, but we're here to assist you. Learn more today at marytinc.com.
All right, welcome back, everybody. You are listening to Living Healthy and Aging Well, where we talk about helping you and your loved ones improve and enjoy your quality of life. My name is Ken Hagelin, and joining me today is Lindsay Wimmer, Executive Director of the Star Legacy Foundation. And we're talking about reducing the loss of pregnancies and also about helping people deal with the tragedy of losing a pregnancy or an infant. If you have a question for us, please give us a call, 952-946-6205, or text us at 612-999-3426. Lindsay, how can our listeners contact you and your organization if they have questions or want more information?
Yeah, they can visit our website at starlegacyfoundation.org. You can email us, info@starlegacyfoundation.org. Our phone number is 952-715-7731, or we're also on Facebook and Instagram, and you're welcome to reach out in any of those modalities too.
Wow, fantastic. And you talked about the show how many of the services you offer are free to people. How are people able to help support your organization, your foundation, and how they can donate either money, donate time? What would that look like for people that are very interested in doing that?
Yeah, we welcome all kinds of contributions. We do receive some grant funding that we're incredibly grateful for, but the vast majority of our funding does come from private donations from mostly families or friends of people who have been affected. So we do have a donate button on our website that anyone is welcome to utilize. We also have a series of events that are held across the country by a lot of these same families. And so if there's one in your area, I would absolutely encourage you to attend. Obviously, it can help us financially continue our programs, but it's also an incredible opportunity to connect with other families who have had similar experiences, and it creates just such a wonderful community. Or if you're interested in hosting an event like that yourself, please reach out to us because we love continuing to grow that community even more.
Mm-hmm. One thing I wanted to touch on here is that grieving families are able to honor their baby with a memorial star on the Foundation's website. We only have a few minutes left here. Would you mind just talking about that a little bit? Because that can be such a great way for people to get involved, too.
Yeah, we want everybody to know that we're here because of their babies, and we never want to forget why we're here. It's sometimes easy to get bogged down into that, but we consider all of these babies our stars, and they're the ones looking over us all the time, making sure that we're honoring their memories and working really hard to help future families in their honor. And we also want to make sure that the families who have found us and connected with us know that they're not alone and that we will not forget their babies. One of most parents' biggest fears is that their children will be forgotten. And at Star Legacy, we just want to reiterate that will never happen.
Yeah. Wow, just all these beautiful pictures and photos of your stars. Oh, yes. That's great. All right. And to do that, you have the ability just to add a star here by people logging in. They go to our stars drop-down menu, and they can just load that information in.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, absolutely.
Fantastic. All right, I want to make sure we just really emphasize the fact that you do have this great summit coming up here, both for healthcare professionals, but also for the communities at large. Maybe just remind us one more time about that coming up in June in Bloomington.
Yes, it's June 18th to the 21st in Bloomington. And the first 3 days are, like you said, are for the health professionals. And then that fourth day, the Saturday, the 21st, is designed for families.
Okay. And we do have a lot of healthcare professionals that listen to the show, and we're very grateful for that. What were some of the topics that you guys have scheduled at this point for the professionals portion of that summit?
Yeah, so for the professionals, we have so many topics covering things from spiritual care and bereavement support to some of the disparities and racial and ethnic differences that we see. We also have a lot on placental health and some of the emerging things that we're finding about how to identify which babies are at risk by looking at their placental markers and things like that far in advance. We also have a couple of studies looking at some of the genetic and genomic influences on these pregnancy outcomes. So many just incredible, really exciting, a wide variety of research topics that people are looking at because it has been so understudied. Historically, there's lots that we don't know, and so we're really just trying to look at all the different possibilities we can think of.
Yeah, and Minnesota is just so focused on healthcare. It's just we're really very fortunate to have the amount of healthcare professionals and just the commitment to quality healthcare in Minnesota. So this should be a great. And it's one thing that you don't do every year. It's every other year. So this is a great opportunity for people interested in this area to attend. And it's in Bloomington this year.
Yep.
Okay. Wonderful. We only have a couple minutes left here. Do you have a story that I wanted you to share about a woman who had an ultrasound and found that there was a knot in the umbilical cord? Could you tell us a little bit about that story?
Yeah, just a fascinating scenario where a woman went for what we call like a boutique ultrasound, just a fun, it was not with her healthcare professional, and they went to get some of the fun ultrasound images and photos that you can get, and they actually found a knot in her umbilical cord, and so she took that to her health professional, who traditionally, most of the time, people will say there's probably not much we can do, so we'll just kind of hang on to that information. But this physician actually said, no, this is really concerning. And so they started doing a lot of additional testing and monitoring and recognized that there was some concern about that compromising the blood flow through the umbilical cord. And so they kept her in the hospital and did a lot of monitoring, trying to get the initial ultrasound was about 29 weeks gestation, I believe. So they were trying to get them far enough along so that baby would have, the least amount of time or the least amount of challenges if delivery was necessary. And they were able to get to about 34 weeks when the baby was delivered. And they actually found 2 knots in the cord at delivery. But mom and baby are doing well, and we can't promise that type of thing. And who knows what would have happened. But it does tell you that just being curious and trying to do better can really potentially make a big difference.
Be a huge difference. Wonderful. We're at the end of the show, folks, and I want to thank Dr. Lindsay Wimmer, the Executive Director of Star Legacy Foundation, for sharing their mission of reducing the loss of pregnancies and newborns. The Star Legacy Foundation offers community support to families who are expecting a child and who are dealing with the tragedy of losing a pregnancy or infant. We hope you enjoyed today's show. Please contact us with any questions or comments you have regarding today's conversation. You can reach us anytime by voice or text at 612-999-3426. Join us again next Saturday at noon for another broadcast, and thank you for listening to Living Healthy and Aging Well, where we talk about your health and your life. Until next time, please choose to live well.
Hi, I'm Corey Wisco, president of the Welshire. The Welshire is a community that provides memory care to its residents, and we have a location in Bloomington and also another one that we just opened in Medina, Minnesota. But the big question is,